Welcome to the Mindset Reflexology Show, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. Today, I would like to run through the 5 stages of trading mastery. This is, I guess you would call this an overview of the stages that pretty much every trader that reaches trading mastery has or will go through. So this is definitely something that you want to watch over and over to really understand and to contextualize where you might be in your trading journey, whether you're just starting out or you're somewhere in amongst these 5 stages. This should be really helpful for you to understand your current status and where you might need to put in the work to move forward to the next stage. And of course, to understand and be aware of where you're at. I think that's a really important thing for all of us as traders, to understand where we're at, that this is relatively normal, that others have gone through this, and here's the direction to be going in order to keep moving forward and working through these challenges and obstacles. So the 5 stages of trading mastery. Stage 1, what I would call unconscious incompetence. This is the first step you take when you look into trading. You know that it's a good way of making money because you've heard so many great things about it and heard of so many millionaires, right? Unfortunately, just like when you first desire to drive a car, you think it will be easy. After all, how hard can it be? You know, the price either moves up or down. What's the big secret to that, right? Let's get cracking. Unfortunately, just as when you first take your place in front of a steering wheel, you find out very quickly that you haven't got the first damn clue about what you're trying to do. You take lots of trades, lots of risks. When you enter a trade, it turns against you. So you reverse your position and it turns again and again and again. You may have initial success, and that's even worse because it tells your brain that this really is simple and you start to risk more money. You try to turn around your losses by doubling up every time you trade. Sometimes you'll get away with this, but more often than not, you'll come away really scratched and bruised. And you're totally oblivious to your incompetence at trading. That's what I would call, I'll just straighten the camera up a bit there. That's what I would call unconscious incompetence. So at some point we move to stage 2, which is conscious incompetence. So as it might sound, stage 2 is when you begin to realize that there is more work involved in trading than you thought, and that you might actually have to work a few things out. You consciously realize that you are an incompetent trader. You don't have the skills or the insight to turn a regular profit. Despite making the occasional profit, having a win here and there, you don't have the skills to do it on a regular basis. So you're now set about buying trading systems and ebooks galore, right? You read websites based everywhere from the USA to Russia and everything in between, and you begin your search for the holy grail of trading. So during this time, you'll most likely be a system nomad. You will flick from method to method, day by day, week by week, month by month, never really sticking with one long enough to actually see if it does work. Every time you come up or come upon a new indicator, you'll be ecstatic, euphoric, that this is the one that will make all the difference. You'll test out automated systems, you'll play with all of the technical stuff, you know, moving averages, Fibonacci lines, support and resistance, pivots, fractals, divergences, DMI, ADX, and 100 other things, all in the vain hope that your magic system starts today. You'll also become a top and bottom picker. This happens to everybody. Trying to find the exact point of reversal with your indicators, and you'll find yourself chasing losing trades and even adding to them because you're so sure you're right. The human need to be right. You'll also go into live chat rooms and see other traders making profit, and you want to know why it's not you. You'll ask a million questions, some of which are so dumb that looking back, you'll feel a bit silly. You'll then reach the point where you think all the ones who say they are making a profit are liars. They can't be making that amount of money, right? Because you studied and you don't make that. You know as much as they do, so they must be lying. But they're in there day after day and their accounts just grow while yours falls. You'll be like a teenager, right? The traders that make money will freely give you advice, but you're so stubborn and you think you know best, just like a teenager. So you take no notice and you overtrade your account, even though everyone says you're mad to, but you know better. You'll consider following the calls that others make and the predictions and trades that others make. But even then it won't work, right? So you start paying for signals or trading strategies from someone else, and they don't work for you either. You might even approach a guru or someone on a chat board who promises to make you into a successful trader for a fee, of course. Now, whether this guru is good or not, you won't win because there's no replacement for real screen time and you still think you know best. This stage can last ages and ages, months, if not years, draining your account over and over sometimes. And in fact, in reality, talking with other traders as well as your personal experience confirms that it can last, as I said, over a year and generally nearer to 3 years. This is also the stage when you're most likely to give up through sheer frustration. I would say probably above 50% of all traders give up during this stage due to frustration and exhaustion. It's probably closer to 60% of traders quit in the first 3 months. So 3 months in, everyone that starts trading quits. And then beyond that, 50% or more of who's left give up within that first 3 years. So you're already seeing part of the reasons why so many traders give up and don't make it. So they give up, right? And that's good. Think about it. If there weren't a lot of traders giving up trading, there'd be no market and it would be easy. Therefore, there would be no millionaires, right? Or they would all be millionaires that stuck with it. So it's good that a lot of people give up. That's what makes a market. Probably another 20% of traders keep going for another year beyond those 3 years. And in absolute desperation, they take risks guaranteed to blow up their account, which of course it does. What may surprise you is that of the remaining 20%, all of them will last around that 3 years and they will think they are safe in the water, right? But even at 3 years, only a further 1 to 5% will continue and go on to actually make money consistently. And by the way, these are real figures. These are not some I've just picked out of my head. These are from real data, real figures across the globe of traders who start out, when you get to this 3 or 4 years down the track, less than 5% go on. So when you get to the 3 years in the game, don't think that it's plain sailing. So if you're out there watching this, it's not plain sailing from there. There's still work to be done. And I've had many people argue with me about these numbers and time frames. Funny enough, most of them that argue with me haven't been trading for more than 3 years. So if you think you know better, then ask on a chat board for someone who's been trading 5 years and ask them how long it takes to become 100% fully proficient, or what I'm calling a trading master. Sure, there'll be exceptions to that rule, but I haven't met any of them yet. The only probably 1 or 2 that I've met are people that have won the genetic lottery and they hit the ground running, just perfectly suited to trading, almost like trading savants from the get-go. Very, very rare, 1 in 1,000 and 1 in 10,000. So eventually you do begin to come out of this phase. You've probably committed more time, more money than you ever thought you would. You've lost 2 or 3 loaded accounts, i.e. you've put money in an account, you built it up, you've lost it all, repeat. And I see this a lot. And you've all but given up probably maybe 3 or 4 times or more, but now it's in your blood. You are infected with the trading bug. So, one day, out of the blue, in a split-second moment, you enter stage 3. So what's stage 3? Well, I guess that's what I would call the Eureka moment, the aha moment. Towards the end of stage 2, you begin to realize that it's not the system that's making the difference. You realize that it's actually possible to make money with a really simple system and nothing else, if you get your head and money management right. So you start to read books on the psychology of trading, and you start to identify with the characters portrayed in those books, and finally comes the Eureka moment. This Eureka moment causes a new connection to be made in your brain. So the science of this, a new connection gets made in your brain. You suddenly realize that neither you Not anyone else can accurately predict what the market will do in the next 10 seconds, never mind the next 20 minutes, day, week, or month. People can make educated guesses, some really well-educated guesses, but they're still just guesses. This is one of the great eureka moments of trading. You cannot control the market. The market is a vast ocean of uncertainty. Now, because of this revelation, you stop taking notice of what anyone thinks, what this news item will do, what that event will do to the markets. You become an individual with your own method of trading. Finally, you start to work just one system that you mold to your own way of trading. It becomes your system, even if it's pulled bits and pieces of other people's advice and system. It becomes your system, your way of trading. You're starting to get happy and define your risk threshold. At this point, you've worked out how you're comfortable trading. It passes the sleep at night test, which basically says, if a trade keeps you awake at night, you shouldn't be doing it, right? You start to take every trade that your edge or your method shows, so you become mechanical, and your system shows that there's a good probability of winning, 40 or 50% likelihood. So when the train turns bad and one of those 40 to 60% times that you're wrong, you don't get angry or even, because you know in your head that you couldn't possibly predict it and it's not your fault, and you see it as nothing more than a learning experience. And as soon as you realize that the trade isn't working, you're out, you close it. And the next trade after that, or the one after that, or the one after that, will have higher odds of success because you know your system works. And mathematically, it's only a matter of time before you land on the right side of probability. You stop looking at trading results from trade to trade perspectives, and you start to look at your weekly figures, knowing that one bad trade does not a poor system make. And you realize in an instant that the game of trading is about one thing: consistency of your edge and your discipline to bring the right mind to the moment of performance when you take the trades that your system says you should take, no matter what, because you know that it's based on probability, not certainty. That's an amazing eureka moment. And you learn about proper money management and leverage, risk of account, etc., and how to understand the mathematics of that is a very important peace of mind factor with happy, successful trading. And this time it actually soaks in, right? You've probably heard all this information over the previous 3 or 4 years, but this time your brain and your heart and your mind, you're ready to listen, and it soaks in. And you think back to those who advised you about this a year or two ago, and you just have a wry smile on your face. You weren't ready then, but you are ready now. And the eureka moment came as a moment that you truly accepted that you cannot predict the market, but you can control the mind you bring to the market. So we move to stage 4, conscious competence. And you're making trades whenever your system tells you to. You take losses just as easily as you take wins. You now let your winners run to their conclusion that your system says they should, and you fully accept the risk, knowing that your system makes more money than it loses. It extracts more capital from the market than it gives back. And when you're on a losing trade, you close it swiftly with little or no pain, or very little pain to your account. You're now at a point where at a minimum you break even day in, day out. And you'll have weeks where you make big money and you'll have weeks where you lose big money. But overall, you're breaking even or better, and you're not losing money anymore. Really important. And you're now conscious, right? Rationally conscious of the fact that you're making calls that are generally good, and you're getting respect from other traders that you chat the day away with, because you've got a lot of free time with traders. Most traders are on these chat forums and chat boards comparing notes. Now, you still have to work at it like any other muscle. You can't just exercise it and forget about it. You've got to keep working at it, but you know that, right? And you think about your trades a lot, but as this continues, you begin to make more and more money and more than you lose. So this is where you start to extract profit from the market consistently. And often you'll start the day on a big win or take a big loss, and you have no feelings that you've given those profits back, because you know that it will come back again. This is a really deep learning that no matter what happens with any given trade, you know that the market will give you more opportunities. The markets are always there. And one of the biggest advantages you have in the market is you don't have to be in it all the time. You just have to take the trade that your system says to take. And you slowly begin to make consistent profits week in, week out. And now, finally, we move to stage 5, unconscious competence. So now we're cooking, just like driving a car. Every day you get in your seat and you trade. You do everything now on an unconscious, automatic level. You're running on autopilot. You start to pick the really big trades and you're getting big profits in a day, and that doesn't make you any more excited or euphoric than getting none, right? You see the newbies in the forums that you used to be in shouting, go market, go. You know, they're really urging the market on as if they can influence it, right? As if they're urging a horse to win on Grand National Day, right? And you see yourself, but from many years ago now, and you reflect on the person you used to be. This is trading utopia. This is trading mastery. You've mastered your emotions. You've reached emotional mastery, right? And that is huge. You recognize yourself in the questions of these newbie traders from 2, 3, 4 years ago. So you pass on your advice now, but you know most of it is futile because they're teenagers like you used to be, right? Some of them will get to where you are, less than 5%. Some will do it fast and others will do it more slowly. But literally thousands and thousands and thousands will never get past stage 2, but a small, dedicated few will. And funnily enough, this is also the stage where trading is no longer exciting. In fact, it's probably boring you to pieces. Like everything in life, when you get good at it or you do it for your job, it gets boring. You're doing your job though, and that's that. Finally, you grow out of the chat rooms, right? This is when you go, you know what? That's not for me anymore. And you find a small, select group of choice people that you converse with about the markets, but without being influenced at all. All the time, you are honing your methods to extract the maximum profit from the market without increasing risk. Your method of trading does not change. It just gets better. And you now have what people might call intuition. And you can say now, with your head held high, I am a master trader. But to be honest, you don't even bother telling anyone. It's a job like any other, right? It's a little bit like really successful people. They don't tend to talk about it, right? The ones that talk about being successful are the ones that aren't that successful yet. That's the same with trading. Now, I really hope you've enjoyed this journey into a trader's mind, and hopefully you've identified with some of the points in here. Remember that less than 5%, probably closer to 1 to 2%, actually make it to this level, right? Generally, it's in years, maybe somewhere between years 3 to 5. So you've got to be prepared to push through to this point, to learn, adapt, make mistakes, keep going, and change who you are to become the person you need to be a master trader. But the reason that most fail isn't ability. And this is really important. The reason most traders fail is not ability, not knowledge, not intellect, not IQ, nothing to do with previous successes. It's to do with staying power and the ability to change our perceptions and paradigms as new information becomes available. Now, the ones that fall out, sort of the losers, are the ones that wanted to get rich quick, right? But approach the market that way, as a way to make money quickly. Within 6 months, they put on a pair of blinkers so they can't see the obvious. And this is a kind of, this is the way I see it, and that's all there is to it scenario. And they refuse to assimilate new information that changes that perception. They're the ones that paradoxically will be contributing all of the money that you take out of the markets down the track. This is the journey you're on. When you start out, you're the one, you're in the 95% contributing all the capital that the 1 to 5% take out. Now that you're into the 1 to 5%, those newer traders, the ones that refuse to change and refuse to see themselves as the biggest problem, are the ones who you're taking the money off. And, I'm happy to tell you the reason I started trading personally 25 years ago was because of the get rich quick mindset. Of course, that's how so many people come into it. We believe we can bring success from other domains of life into trading. I've been very successful in business and I thought I could bring that into trading, right? You know, and if that's you and you're seeing it as a get rich quick scheme, here's how you should see it. It's a get rich slow opportunity. Get rich slow. Markets will punish you without mercy if you see it as a get rich quick place. Now, if you're thinking about giving up, I have one piece of advice to leave you with. Ask yourself this question. How many years would you go to college for if you knew for a fact that there was $1 million a year job at the end of it? Right? So how many years would you go to uni to study something if you knew at the end there was $1 million a year job? It's the same with trading. So be prepared to commit 3 to 5 years. Be prepared to invest, get coaching, get guidance, learn a great system, get a great psychology coach. Be prepared to back yourself and do it for 3 to 4 years to work through these 5 stages of trading mastery.